Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here with us this evening. I am calling to order this regularly scheduled council meeting of Monday, February 28th, 2022 to order. For members of the community, please be advised that this meeting is being broadcasted and recorded by Hartford Public Access Television and can be viewed via the HPA-TV Facebook page, Comcast Xfinity Channel 96, www.hartfordpublicaccesstv.org, or Channel 6032 for 5-tier customers. Additional accommodations can be made available with enough notice to the Office of Council President. And with that said, welcome everyone. And Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark.
Here.
Councilman Gale.
Here.
Councilwoman Hercules.
Present.
Councilman LeBron.
Here.
Councilman Mitchum.
Here.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Present.
Councilwoman Rossetti. Councilman Sanchez.
Present.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Here.
Councilwoman Rossetti. You have a quorum, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And now our town clerk will lead us on to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the minutes of the February 14th, 2022 regular scheduled council meeting.
I second the motion.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules.
Yes.
Councilman LeBron.
Yes.
Councilwoman Mitchum.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti. Councilman Sanchez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And I would also like to recognize that we have our Corporation Counsel, Howard Rifkin, with us this evening on our screen. And we also have Eric Lusa from the Town Clerk's Office. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we place the following items on our consent calendar. Reports of committee, item 4.2, Quality of Life and Public Safety Committee, with accompanying resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Hartford to accept the grant award of $499,737 from the OJP. Reports of committees, item 4.6, Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Development Committee, with accompanying resolution for the nomination of Albert Gary to the Hartford School Building Committee. Report of committee, item 4.7, Special Joint Louis, LEWYC, and PEDH Committee, with accompanying resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Hartford to accept $1 million in funding from the state of Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development, DECD. Reports of committee, item 4.8, Public Works, Parks, Recreation, and Environment Committee, with accompanying resolution confirming the Department of Public Works as the local traffic authority for the city of Hartford. Reports of committee, item 4.10, Operations Management, Budget, and Government Accountability, with accompanying resolution authorizing the city of Hartford to enter into an agreement with Murphy Road Recycling for municipal solid waste disposal and recycling services. Resolution item 5.1, a resolution by Councilman Sanchez, Council President Rosado, Majority Leader Clark, Assistant Majority Leader Rossetti, for Operation Prom. And that concludes the consent calendar.
I second the motion.
Motion has been made and properly second. Is there any discussion? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules.
Yes.
Councilman LeBron.
Yes.
Councilman Mitchum.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti, Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make a motion that we receive the following items. Communications item 3.4, Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Development Committee with accompanying communication presentation from Marlene Fleeting, Director of Human Resources. Communications item 3.5, Public Works, Parks, Recreation, and Environment Committee. Communication concerning presentation by Kim Oliver, Director of Department of Families, Children, Youth, and Recreation, Brian Gallagher, Executive Director of Active City. The topic was Free Winter Sport Youth Program for Hartford Kids. And reports of committee item 4.1, Special Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Development, Planning, Economic Development, Housing Committee with a company resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Hartford to accept $1 million in funding from the state of Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development, DECD.
Councilman LeBron?
Yes, I'd like to formally recuse myself from item 3.5 as I'm a board member.
Like to second the motion?
Duly noted. The motion has been seconded. Are there any discussions? Any further discussions? There be none. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron for items 3.4 and 4.1,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchum,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti, Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Through you, Madam President, I'd like to make the motion that we refer the following items to the set committees. Communication item 3.1, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution appointing Erna Altick to the Commission on Refugee and Immigrant Affairs, to the Health and Human Services Committee. Communications item 3.2, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution appointing Rebecca Pappas to the Commission on Cultural Affairs, to the Health and Human Services Committee. Communications item 3.3, Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Development Committee. Communication concerning resolution for tax relief evaluation, to the Committee of the Whole. Reports of committee item 4.11, Operations, Management, Budget, and Government Accountability with the company resolution requesting the Director of Finance and Purchasing Agent appear before council to review procurement process. To the Committee of the Whole, reports of committee item 4.12, Operations, Management, Budget, and Government Accountability Committee with the accompanying resolution requesting the administration to provide a comprehensive plan for funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, and that concludes the, and that goes to the Committee of the Whole as well. And that concludes the referral items.
Second the motion.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions? Any discussions? There be none. Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchum,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti, Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Through you, Madam President, I'd like to make the motion that item 4.4 be withdrawn if it is agreeable by the maker of the resolution, which is reports of committee item Labor Education 4.4, Labor Education, Workforce, and Youth Development Committee with accompanying resolution confirming the appointment of Ilka Torres to fill a vacancy on the Hartford School Building Committee.
Yes, for the record, Mr. Majority Leader, as the maker of the resolution, I would like to withdraw the name of Ilka Torres from this agenda.
Second. Or do we need a,
No, I believe if I am the maker and I am withdrawing this resolution, there
There's
should
no
not have
vote.
to be a vote. For the record, Mr. Clerk, if you
Thank you.
could have that for the notes. You're welcome. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we take up for action. Reports of committee, item 4.3, Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Development Committee with accompanying resolution for the nomination of Bernard Thomas to the Hartford School Building Committee.
I second the motion.
A motion has been made and properly second. Councilman Sanchez,
Yes, is that 4.3 that was mentioned, or is that 4. I'm sorry, my mistake.
Councilman, just for the record, it's 4.3.
Councilwoman Surgeon,
So what are we doing at 4.3? Is
so
that postponed or I don't,
Councilman Majority Leader Clark, it's 4.3 was postponed, but 4.5 is on action item, so.
Yeah.
Bernard
I'm
Thomas is
sorry.
4.5, correct?
I'm sorry, action item is 4.5. I will go back.
Yes, that's just
I
our
would like
other
to, if it's okay with the maker, I'm sorry, with you, Council President, I would like to withdraw my motion.
Duly noted.
I like to, I'm sorry. Because the motion was made and properly seconded. Shouldn't we just put it to action since it was made and properly seconded?
Well, we are going to put it for action, but it was the wrong item number. So we're just going to withdraw it and bring it back on the floor with the correct item number.
so it's
with
not
that said-
postponed.
So, no.
So it's gonna go to action.
Well, Councilman LeBron, if you could just withdraw your motion so that we can start all over again.
Okay, you want me to withdraw my second? Okay,
Yes.
I withdraw my second.
Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor. If you could provide us with clarifications for Councilwoman Shirley Surgeon, please.
Thank you. The motion on the floor was actually for action, but I improperly spoke. It's actually for postpone.
Okay.
Through you, Madam President, I would like to make the motion that we postpone reports of committee item 4.3, which is the Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Development Committee with accompanying resolution for the nomination of Bernard Thomas to the Hartford School Building Committee.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions? Councilman LeBron.
Yes, so I'll give a general discussion as we're going to the Hartford School Building Construction Committee. And I'll make my motions now in terms of, so everyone understands and I don't belabor the point on it. So the Hartford School Building Construction Committee has received a lot of attention recently, and rightfully so. It is an important committee. And it is important that, and I'm very satisfied that the council is now placing and filling all of our seats. It is my belief that, advocacy groups should always move in a direction to change what currently exists into what they believe should be. And as it relates to the Hartford School Building Committee, now I believe is a time more than ever that we need that change. Myself and my fellow colleagues often receive communication through phone calls, texts, and emails stating that the people on construction sites, and in particular the school building construction sites, don't necessarily reflect the population of the residents of the city. I believe on a broader level, we're all seeing in the Hartford Current and state news and all your media outlets what has currently happened over the past years with the state construction management of contracts with schools that has caused federal inquiry, Hartford included, alongside other districts in this investigation. That is why I drafted, not because of the investigation, because this happened before, but I drafted a resolution asking to place a minority construction council member to the Hartford School Building Board, Hartford Building School Construction Committee. The Minority Construction Council, or MCC, recommended that that person be Bernard Thomas. All of the non-council recommendations were asked to present at the Louis, which is the Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Committee, which I happen to be the chair. As a result of that meeting, the committee voted back unanimously in favor of Al Gary, while sending back the other nominees with no recommendations. The reason why the other nominees were sent back with no recommendations was based on the request that the need to have, let me put this in proper words, to have our corporation counsel provide guidance on potential ethical and or conflicts of interest. We all have received that recommendation that concludes that there is no conflict of interest of a minority construction council person being on this Hartford School Building Construction Committee, and even if it's the board chair, and if an appointment should face a conflict, that they in fact can recuse themselves. I believe this clears the pathway for MCC to have a placement. It is always important that when we're designing systems and system change opportunities in particular, and or creating new accountability structures, that marginalized groups should have a seat at the table. This is exactly what the MCC represents, an advocacy group with the design and the intention for providing women and communities of color with access and opportunities. I believe without this, we'll continue to face challenges. And so I'll end with a quote by Starhawk, who is a profound American feminist and author. And she states, "Systems don't change easily. Systems try to maintain themselves and seek equilibrium. To change a system, you need to shake it up. You must disrupt the equilibrium. And that often requires conflict." Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman LeBron. Are there any other comments or discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
No.
Councilman Misham,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti, Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we now place on action reports of committee, item 4.5, Labor, Education, Workforce, and Youth Development Committee, with a company resolution for the nomination of Edison Silva to the Hartford School Building Committee.
Second.
Motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions? Any discussions? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
No.
Councilman Misham,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti, Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we place on action reports of committee item 4.9, which is Operations Management, Budget, and Government Accountability, with a company resolution authorizing the city to accept the assignment of all of the HEDCO Inc. portfolio of non-performing business loans created with the Community Development Block Grant Funding M2022-015, which is agreement to assume the HEDCO Loan Inc. non-performing business loan portfolio.
I second.
A motion has been made and properly second. Councilwoman Hercules?
I just will be recusing myself from this vote, given what I stated at the OMBGA meeting. My ex-husband had a loan through HEDCO at one point, which I believe is on the list of loans to be assumed.
Duly noted. Councilman Gale?
Likewise, I'll be recusing myself. As an attorney, I've represented HEDCO in the past.
Duly noted. Are there any other discussions, any other comments? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
Yes.
Councilman Mitchum,
Yes.
Councilman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilman Rossetti, Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Majority Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I'd like to make the motion that we place on action resolution item 5.2, which is the resolution reappointing Councilman Thomas J. Clark II as the member of the Hartford School Building Committee.
Second.
I believe that was a second from Councilwoman Shirley Surgeon. So a motion has been made and properly second. Are there any discussions, any comments? There being none, Mr. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Councilman Gale,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hercules,
Yes.
Councilman LeBron,
No.
Councilman Mitchum,
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado,
Yes.
Councilman Rossetti, Councilman Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And that concludes our agenda for this evening. I want to wish everyone a safe and great evening. Thank you for joining us, member of the public. Good night, everyone. This meeting is adjourned.
Good night.
Good night.